Hi everybody, and welcome back to another episode of The Art of Business English. Now, this is episode 70, and today we're going to be looking at adjectives and adverbs for describing trends. Okay, so we're looking at adjectives and adverbs for describing change and the speed of change. Okay, so if you need to present facts and figures, report on change, or in your organization, or if you work in sales or accounting, in fact in most areas or parts of the organization, then you'll definitely find today's episode extremely useful. Now today I'll be covering the following. Basically, I'm looking at what are adjectives and adverbs. Then I'm going to talk about how you can talk about degrees of change, and also how you can talk about the speed of change, and then how to use them in context. Okay, so let's get started by looking at some of the basics, which is an adjective. What is an adjective? Okay, so the simplest way to describe an adjective is a word that describes or qualifies a noun. Now, adjectives describe nouns by giving some information about an object's size or its shape, its age, its color, its origin, or material. Okay, so some common adjectives, I guess, are big, small, round, red, okay, and wooden. There are a few rules though that we need to follow, and I'm going to explain those now because they're quite important. And unlike with Spanish, adjectives do follow different rules. So let's have a look at those. So the first rule that is often forgotten is that adjectives do not have a plural form. Many of my students make this common mistake all the time. Okay, they will say things like difficult problems. Okay, because in Spanish it's problemas difíciles, and this is of course incorrect, as we never change the adjective form in English. So let's look at the second rule. The second rule that must be followed is that adjectives always come first, right? So basically, to demonstrate this point, we would say in English a red car, not a car red, whereas in Spanish you say un coche rojo. Okay. I often see this mistake made with students who, when they use the word enough, this is a very common mistake, enough, suficiente. So this is because the structure for enough, it changes when you're using either a noun or an adjective. All right. So basically, the adjective, as I said, must always come first. So we say strong enough, no, suficientemente fuerte, and we don't say not enough strong. Okay, so it's strong enough, not enough strong. Enough strong is incorrect, whereas in Spanish it would be fine to say suficiente fuerte. However, when we use a noun, then the noun comes second. So this is where the confusion comes. Okay, for example, we say enough people. There were not enough people to organize a party. Okay, so it depends if you're using adjective or a noun, but the rule is adjectives come first. Okay, and the final rule that non-native speakers need to be aware of is that when we're using multiple adjectives in a sentence, they follow a specific pattern or order. Obviously, native people, we don't really need to think about this because it comes to us naturally, okay? However, if you are non-native and you use the incorrect order of adjectives, then to a native person, it can sound a bit strange, okay? So adjectives must follow the following order, okay? So let's have a look. You've got the first one, which is quantity or number. The next one is opinion. Then you need to put the size, then the age, then the shape, then the color, the nationality or material, and then finally you can put the purpose. Now obviously we don't use all of these adjectives to describe a noun at the same time, but if we do use two or three, we need to follow the correct order. So let me give you a quick example. I've got three examples here. A massive black whale, okay, a massive black whale. Okay, so massive is the size, black is the color, and then the whale is the noun. Another one is a beautiful Mexican meal. Now, beautiful is my opinion because I think it's a beautiful meal. Mexican is the nationality or the style, and meal is the noun. And the last one is a large, round, wooden table. So large is the size, and round is the shape, and wooden is the material. Okay, so that's the order for that, and table obviously is the noun. So now that we have adjectives clear, let's take a look at some adverbs. So what is an adverb? So put simply, an adverb is a word used to modify a verb, an adjective, or another adverb. Okay, so it's a word that is used to modify a verb, an adjective, or another adverb. Okay, adverbs do not qualify or modify nouns. Adjectives modify nouns. Okay, so some examples are: he ran quickly to the bus. He ran quickly to the bus. You can see here that the adverb quickly is modifying the verb to run. Number two, this problem is extremely difficult. Okay, so here is an adverb extremely is modifying the adjective difficult. Okay, extremely difficult. And the last one, John can run extremely quickly. Here the adverb extremely is acting on the adverb quickly. Okay, so those are three examples of how we can modify adjectives, verbs, and other adverbs with adverbs. So many adverbs in English finish in ly, and it's pretty straightforward to change an adjective into an adverb. So for example, quick is an adjective, and if we add ly, if we want to change it to an adverb, we just add ly. So quick then becomes quickly. So we've modified the adjective to become an adverb. Okay, so now that we have clear our understanding of adjectives and adverbs, let's move on to the next part of the episode, which is how to talk about degree of change. Okay, well, the following skills are especially useful for those who are presenting, for example, in English. Okay, we are often required to describe change within our organization or our work area or area of work. Okay, and below, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a list of adjectives that are used to describe the degree of change, and as always, I'll give you the translation. Okay, so let's have a look at this list then. The first one is sharp, so a sharp change, and that means brusco. Okay, so sharp, brusco. A dramatic change would be dramático, un cambio dramático. And the next one is enormous, so enormous is enorme, okay, enormous, enorme. Spectacular, spectacular would be espectacular, okay. The next one is steep, steep. So steep is muy pronunciada, okay, so muy pronunciada. And you can see that with this vocabulary, we can talk about, graphs, charts, things like that. Significant would be significativo. The next one is considerable, considerable. Now you need to be careful with considerable because the pronunciation is very different in English than in Spanish. In English it's considerable, whereas in Spanish it's considerable. Okay, moderate is moderado. Slight, a slight change is ligero, and a small change is un pequeño cambio. And the last one is minimal. So a minimal change is un cambio mínimo. All right. So now I'm going to provide you with a list of corresponding adverbs. So basically, these adverbs are the ones that are used to describe change. So sharply would be the adverb for the adjective sharp. So sharply is bruscamente. Dramatically, dramaticamente. Enormously, enormemente. Spectacularly, espectacularmente. Steeply, muy pronunciadamente. Significantly, significativamente. Considerably, considerablemente. Moderately, moderatamente. Slightly, ligeramente. And minimally, minimamente. So as you can see, we've added ly, as I mentioned before, to all of the previously mentioned adjectives to create adverbs. As simple as that, with the exception of small. Okay, with regards to the Spanish, we're adding mente, which is, well, I guess in this case, is the equivalent, no, of adding ly. So it's not that difficult to form adverbs in English or Spanish. So it's pretty straightforward as long as you know the adverb or the adjective. So let's move on to the next part of the episode, and this is where I'm going to outline adjectives and adverbs for describing the speed of change, okay? So how to talk about speed of change? Well, while it is important to describe the amount of change, sometimes it is also important to show how fast that change occurred, okay? So the following adjectives and adverbs will help you to describe or transmit to your audience the speed of in which this change has happened, okay? So the first one is quick, and quick is rápido. Rapid is the next one, and that's rápido, okay? Swift, swift, not related to Taylor Swift, but swift is rápido as well. Sudden, repentino, okay, so sudden is repentino. Steady is estable. Gradual, so gradual, again, pronunciation different from Spanish, the word is spelt the same. Gradual is gradual, okay, so be careful with the pronunciation of these ones that are similar. And slow is lento, okay. So again, let's take a look then at the adverbs for describing the speed of change, and I'm going to modify these adjectives and make them into adverbs. So the first one is quickly, rápidamente, rapidly, rápidamente, swiftly, rápidamente, okay. Suddenly is de repente, and steadily is establemente, gradually, gradualmente, and slowly, lentamente. So there you basically have it, okay. That's a list of adjectives and adverbs to help you talk about the speed of change. Now, in this last part of the episode, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to bring it all together and show you how you can use them correctly in speech. Okay, so as with most things, we need to follow some rules in order to use adjectives and adverbs correctly. Now, when we construct sentences using an adjective or an adverb to talk about degrees of change or the speed of change, then we must take care to use the correct word order. Okay, so basically, because adjectives qualify nouns and adverbs verbs, you can't always put them easily together in the same sentence. Let's start by looking at adjectives. We'll start with that first. Okay, so as we learned in the first part of this episode, sometimes adjectives qualify nouns and they must be placed before the noun. Okay, that's very important. And so let's look at some examples and you can see what I mean. So as you can see in the following graph, there has been a steep rise. So a steep rise is the adjective and noun in the number of insurance claims in the second quarter. So as you can see in the following graph, there has been a steep rise in the number of insurance claims in the second quarter. The next one, the following chart shows a sharp drop, so sharp drop in the number of new sign-ups over the last month. Now, the adjective here is sharp and the drop is la caída, so that's the noun. And you'll notice that a lot of these expressions are followed by the preposition in. So a rise in, a drop in. So make sure you put the correct preposition to. So in these examples, we can see that the adjective is it's found in the middle of a sentence and it's working to modify the noun, okay? Now let's compare the next sentences with adverbs, okay? So as you can see in the following graph, the number of insurance claims in the second quarter has risen steadily. So I've had to modify the sentence, all right? Has risen steadily. So I'm using the present perfect, has risen, but that's now rise. Arise, the noun, has now been transformed into a verb to rise, and then I can put the adverb steadily. Okay, so as you can see in the following graph, the number of insurance claims in the second quarter has risen steadily. Ha incrementado de forma estable. So you can see that now you've got this verb plus adverb, okay? Now the following chart shows the number of new sign-ups in the last month has dropped sharply, okay? So the following chart shows that the number of new sign-ups in the last month has dropped sharply. So again, has dropped is ha caído, and sharply is bruscamente. So again, I've had to change the sentence structure and the order of words. Basically, the sentences with the adjective mean the same as the sentences with the adverb, but because adjectives qualify noun, we have to put them in separately in a separate way or in a different structure when compared to adverbs, because adverbs qualify verbs. Okay, so you should notice that the adverb in these examples finishes the sentence, okay, and we change the order in which we present the information. Okay, this is because we can't put an adverb with the noun and say a steeply rise. Okay, a steeply rise doesn't work. Adverbs qualify adverbs qualify verbs and not nouns. So we must say to rise steeply. Okay. The problem is sometimes a noun and a verb have the same form. So arise or to rise. So arise is un incremento, una subida, but to rise is subir or incrementarse. So it depends, they look the same, but they're not. Okay. So before I finish, I'll give you some more example sentences, okay, and to help you better apply this knowledge, okay. So let's have a look. So first, I'll give you the adjective, and then I'll give you the adverb. So this chart shows a slight increase in sales for the quarter. So a slight increase. An increase is a noun. Slight is an adjective. The next one with the adverb. This chart shows sales in the last quarter have increased slightly. Okay, so the verb to increase and the adverb slightly. Now, the next one. There has been a considerable impact on tourist numbers after the earthquake. So there has been a considerable impact, so considerable is the adjective, impact is a noun, on tourist numbers after the earthquake. Whereas if we use the adverb, we need to change it. Tourist numbers have been impacted on considerably. So to impact on is a verb and considerably is the adverb. Since the earthquake. Tourist numbers have been impacted on considerably since the earthquake. All right, so they mean the same thing, but we're changing the structure and the order. All right, we have seen a rapid growth in new account signups. We have seen a rapid growth in new account signups. Rapid, adjective, growth, noun. Whereas adverb, we have seen new account signups grow rapidly. We have seen new account signups grow, verb, rapidly, adverb. Okay. We have had to make swift changes to our customer satisfaction process. We have had to make swift changes, okay, to our customer satisfaction process. So you can say swift changes, swift, adjective, changes, noun. And we have had to let me start this one again. We have had to swiftly change our customer satisfaction process. So swiftly change is swiftly is the adverb, and to change is the verb. Okay, so there you have it, my friends. That is basically it. A nice overview of how you can use adjectives and adverbs to talk about the degree and speed of change in your business. Okay, so what are my final thoughts? Well, basically that's it all. That's all from me today. And as always, I hope you have found the episode interesting and useful, above all useful. And remember, if you do have any questions, please feel free, reach out to me, send me an email. I'm more than happy to help you guys with your questions. And as always, at the end of the episodes, if you do or if you want to improve your business English and you are interested in working with me and my team, then come over to the AOB website, sign up for the Masters program, and you'll start getting your weekly coaching for free as part of your membership, which is incredible value. And at the AOB website, we do have all the membership options, which are basically free, or you can become a premium member. Okay, that's it for me. That's all for today. And as always, I hope you enjoyed the content. Let me know if you have any questions, and have a great week. I hope you can apply some of this knowledge to your next presentation or report. So take care. Bye for now.